Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Lone Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and an extremely special guest. You have seen this guy on the silver screen in movies like Identity Thief with people like Jason Bateman, Melissa McCarthy. You've seen him on TV shows like Walking Dead, Marvel's Hawkeye, and if you really want to go back, you saw him do a cameo on Bloodline.
Damn.
If you tune into Netflix shows.
Damn.
He is my friend. He is a Hollywood actor. He is here to talk to us about his latest passion project.
Yeah.
Talking Mugshot to Marvel.
Boom.
He is Lyman High until you die.
Let's go.
Carlos Navarro.
Sir,
Los,
what an intro.
thank you so much for driving the 7 miles from your house to get to our office studio to be a guest on the Lone Officer Podcast.
Sir, it is so good to see you. And you are a person that has had a big influence in my life. You were there for me in a moment when I was in a transitional period. And maybe we'll get to that later on. But I just want to say thank you for that up front, and it's a pleasure to be here with your amazing, amazing team.
You're very welcome. You know what's crazy is I know the story you're going to tell because you told it to me about a month ago when you and I had connected, and I had no idea.
Yeah, no.
But essentially, like, look, I am a loyal, like we joke, we went to the same high school, right?
Yeah.
So Lyman High School in Longwood, Florida is the high school that Carlos and I went to. We're a year apart. I may look younger, but actually I'm older, right? So I was class of 97. He's class of 98. We both love and still love Gail Goodrich, Miss G.
Oh, yeah, that's
TV,
the G.
TV production. That was our commonality.
Yeah.
We both were in TV production for all 4 years of our high school tenure. And there was a time that my son, who played youth sports, needed a photographer. Now, he didn't need shit. Actually, my wife wanted pictures of our kid either at the baseball field or the football field. And, you know, I'm on Facebook. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's my boy Los.
Man.
Oh, he's doing photography.
Yeah.
So I just did what came natural, which was, hey, I'm going to reach out to one of my own. I'm going to take care of my people and see if he wants this gig. What I didn't know is that it was at a time of transition in your life where that $100 or $200 that you charged us, that was like groceries.
It was a huge deal. That was groceries.
Wow, so that was before Marvel. That was
Way
before Walking
Marvel.
Dead.
Yeah, wait.
Yes.
I got my groceries paid now.
Yeah.
I can get whatever I want. I don't get the super brand. I'm getting the good stuff, ice cream. No, absolutely, dude. We were gig to gig. We were so young. We just, we were starting this photography business. I was fired from a consistent gig, and yeah, we were like, whoa, do you think you could take pictures in sports calls? I'm like, yeah. So I posted a couple of sports pictures. Luckily, you saw this was the beginning days of Facebook. And thank you, man, because, yeah, it was nice. And I always remembered that in the sense that I knew you kind of didn't need to. You could have gone with anybody, and you treated me with a lot of respect because you could have been like a dick and be like, yeah, he's put on his cleats over there. Why don't you get a couple shots of his tootsies? You know what I'm saying? Like, but you were totally cool, and I love you for that, man. So I appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome, and thank you for remembering, because honestly, I probably would have forgot
That's life.
that you even came out and like took pictures of Jackson, who, by the way, is now 18 and graduating high school.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Dustin, that's life, man.
Yeah.
That's so the messed up thing, the good and the bad, that you can say something to somebody that you will forget by the time you walk out of the door, and they will change their entire life because you said it.
Yeah. No.
That's the power of words and the spells and actions that you can take on people.
No, that is amazing. Hey, do this for me real quick. I'm curious, naturally curious.
Mm-hmm.
Did you grow up wanting to be an actor? Like,
I grew up wanting to be in the movies, wanting to direct.
okay.
And
Like, as an 8-year-old,
Yes.
you were like, okay.
I know it's weird, but I was always drawing, and I knew I want. And then one day when I watched Steven Spielberg's E.T., that really connected with me, and I was like, "What is this world? This magical world?" And my dad had all these back in the day, we had these things called VCR tapes. And my dad would record stuff on HBO. He'd put it up on the wall. And I was like, all right, well, let me start watching these. And I'd put on Jaws and E.T. And, yeah, he had a couple pornos in there he forgot about. And, I watched those too. Fast Cars, Easy Women. And
you'd have Kanji and Ziggy and Lance all coming over.
Oh, yeah, we all did. We know it. And you know my boys. And so I always would escape into these films, and I was blown away by them. And then the theme parks opened up here in Orlando.
Yeah.
And
I got the Universal specifically.
Yes. But and so I was like obsessed with going to the theme parks and trying to meet Steven Spielberg. I would spend my summers going to, because back in the day you get like a ticket and you get the next day free. So me and my friends would ask everybody at the park, can I have your ticket? Can I have your ticket? And we go all summer long, me and my boy at Universal. So I was obsessed with the movies, but no clear path and no connections. And then I took TV production. And with the same class and the same amazing teacher. And she believed in me. She's like, hey, you're special. You can do stuff that others can't. I remember like, whoa. And my mom was the only one who said that. And so I would make these movies. And then I got on the radio and kind of forgot about movies and TV. And then I took an acting class and it got me, oh, damn. And kind of the same thing. I took an acting class. I wasn't that serious about it because I took it to direct.
Okay.
And this amazing acting teacher, God rest her soul, Yvonne Suhor, I took it. I was like, screw it, I'll take it. And I was thinking, like, and everybody's there very serious about it. And I was like, blasé about it. And I'd go and I'd do my scenes, and she'd be like, God, and I'd be like, oh, thanks, And then after one scene, because she goes, who wants to be a professional actor? She'd ask it every class, and I never raised my hand. I was always just like, I'm doing radio. I'm going to direct. I don't know. And then one day, I did a scene from Basketball Diaries or something like that.
Okay.
And I remember you would be a performer.
That was with Julia Stiles, Basketball Diaries?
No. That's Love and Basketball.
Okay.
No, I would have done that one too, but I wasn't cute enough.
Okay.
I'm playing the roughed out, druggie in the back, and Marlo, I'd be doing the scene. I'm drooling. Marlo! The class stands up, and I ate it up on my ham, and I go backstage, and the acting teacher sits me down, and she puts her hands on her shoulders. She goes, "You have a gift, Carlos, and you have to do this for a living."
How old were you?
22.
Okay, so you're still young.
Yeah.
This wasn't something that you're like, I was like mid-30s and I was kind of bored in between gigs, and I decided on to be an actor.
At the time I thought I was old getting into it. I really thought, because I'd gotten into radio so early at 17, but 22 felt like a lifetime, And so, but it was all for a reason. And she's passed on, like I said, and it was definitely that moment I took it serious. I was like, okay, now I'm the asshole if I go buh, buh, buh. So I was like, let me start. And so I literally looked at it like a blue collar job. I was like, I'm gonna do this until I'm dead. So where do we start? What's the first one? Independent movie on a student film? All right, let's go. Yeah, sure, let's go. Same mentality of how I got into radio. And then literally you could timeline the whole thing all the way up to a student film, and then a lead in that, and then a play where I was a lead, and then you got a small commercial, then an extra part, and then it wasn't ever this massive jump until I booked Identity Thief.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those that don't know Carlos the way that I do, or really, honestly, most of Central Florida knows him. You mentioned it twice now. He started at 17 years of age, recent high school graduate, interning at a local radio station that I tune into, a radio station in a format that helped shape me into having the courage or the envy to want to have my own show,
nice,
i.e. a podcast and not a syndicated morning or even afternoon talk radio. But you got into talk radio when talk radio was literally hitting its peak, right?
Yeah.
Howard Stern's at the top of his game, and Bubba the Love Sponge was at the top of his game, and you came in as an intern. The show has been multiple names. At the time, it was probably Monsters of the Midday.
No, it was actually Russ and Bo and Dirty Jim at the time.
Wow.
Yeah,
Russ, Bo, and Dirty Jim.
And then it turned to Monsters. It was just kind of turning to Monsters of the Midday.
Okay.
And then, eventually Monsters in the Morning.
Yep, and then Monsters in the Morning. So this is the number one radio show in Orlando for 2+ decades,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you came on as the intern. At some point, they wouldn't call you by your name.
Yeah, very early on, it was like at the time in 90s, I was 98. It was 98 Black Bean.
God,
And
how racist.
You know what's funny? At the time, and ironically, it's like a bigoted term because it's not only race, but I think as a 17-year-old, and like being Cuban, and my mom made black beans all the time. I never I was like, that's cool. Yeah. Like I wasn't like, I am offended. I was like, that's pretty cool, black bean. That's pretty fun, you know. So it wasn't until later that like redneck racist motherfuckers would be like, hey, beaner, and I was like, oh. Damn.
Well, one. So he was Black Bean as a character.
Yeah.
On this show. Today, if you tune in, and you should, it's 104.1 on your radio dial if you are in Central Florida, or check them out on iHeart. I don't really know how iHeart Radio works.
It's just like every other streaming app. It provides, you can go to a station. It's really great, actually, and you can listen to us live on there, too. So it's taken over what syndication kind of used to be, the accessibility of it.
JC says that we're on iHeart, by the way.
You are?
Yep. I said, JC, are we on iHeart? He goes, yep, I have us everywhere that you can listen to podcasts. That's where you guys are. I was like, okay, perfect.
Good, yeah.
But you can listen to Carlos every single morning, Monday through Friday.
Yeah, there's a difference.
On 104.1, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just speaking with the president of iHeart. We just had a big meeting with him, and in this age of podcasts, everybody all of a sudden is a podcaster. Everybody's all of a sudden an influencer. And the difference is, and it's a little bit about what we talked about, is we have to protect a license. Similar to how you have a fiduciary responsibility to your clients, as opposed to somebody who didn't take those classes and didn't build the business, fly-by-night guys and girls. That's what I see a lot of people trying to take the title of what we are. And I know it sounds kind of elitist, but we're broadcasters.
Yeah.
We have this amount of time and this amount of time to convey a point. We have to hit these certain marks. We can't say certain things. We have to protect the license. There are people listening. We do have corporate sponsors, as opposed to something else. I know you would crush that format. You'd probably thrive in some scenario like that. And that's a big, big difference of something that not everybody does anymore.
Yeah, well, I would crush it, except for how many actual 8-second delays do you have?
We have 16. It kind of actually is different. So we have 2 8-second delays, and then
if you blow through both of those, then you have to have some dead air until you get caught back up.
But man, you know what, Dustin? You hear how much I curse. Yes. I curse offline. And I very rarely. It's something you kind of take pride in. You know, it's like you think about we were on Sirius where we could curse and we could say whatever the we wanted to. And we did an hour. When we took over for Howard Stern, when he got fired in 2000 and after the Janet Jackson thing, we were, hey, you guys are in mornings. What? We got to wake up at what time? And I remember going up in the elevator with Johnny from Johnny's house at 4:30 in the morning, 4 in the morning, all bright-eyed and praying. He's like, you ain't going to last like that. And he was still the coolest dude. I love Johnny. And next thing you know, we're in the mornings. We've taken over for Howard, and we did this hour where we're allowed to basically do whatever we want because it's in Sirius and not terrestrial. And man, we went off. We started being like, fuck this, and going crazy. And then after a while, we resorted kind of back to how we were comfortable with. And man, I say today I played the role on the radio. Ready? Of the marketing director of the drug cartel. Good to see you again. Welcome back to Mexico, where cocaine is fantastic. Okay, on one end. Yeah. And then I played a gay black strawberry daiquiri owner who's upset at Russ. Why are you saying that should be discontinued? And Russ has white guilt, so he purchased a case of it. Okay? So we're doing stuff that if they put it, I know it sounds cocky or whatever, but man, we do a lot of shit on this radio show that just not a lot of people aren't doing. It's not a basic show. We have a lot of freedom. We do 5 hours.
Wow.
6 to 11. Every day, 3 15-minute breaks, and we destroy.
Yeah, no, you do. And have I am a fan.
I know, bro. I appreciate
of the show. Yeah. Had I not started getting into triathlons where I wake up at 4:45 and I started my workout at 5:30, I'd be tuning in.
I know. No, you know what? Here's the beauty of on demand, bro. Listen to it on YouTube.
Look at that.
We're on YouTube. In fact, that's where we've really grown our show even more. Like our fan club kind of lives on our Monsters in the Morning YouTube page, which I would highly recommend. Go and subscribe. Great people on there. And it really rejuvenated this this kind of behemoth of a show that we kind of been doing for so long, and now we're doing back old retail school politics, going to all the cities in Florida, and people are coming out because after COVID, man, I think we just had this giant vacuum of connectiveness, if that's even a word, of us wanting to get out there and talk to people. And so that's where we're at, because I was in the studio for most of the time in a little hole. Either I was in New York or I was in Atlanta, or because I was shooting, and so I was very separated for a long time, and it took me a long time to kind of be like, okay, I want to be back out there.
Yeah. How many cities are you all in right now?
As
the radio show. As the radio show.
Just Orlando.
Just Orlando. Okay.
Yeah. But when I say that, we really hit a lot of the cities that aren't our market: Brevard County,
Yes.
Tampa, Lakeland. We
Okay.
go. These aren't our markets, but we go out and hundreds of people show up. It's really, honestly, quite amazing considering how long we've been doing it. And that, like, literally, dude, if I meet somebody and they're like, hey, I've been listening to the show for 4 years, I'm like, oh, you're a new listener.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, people pride those. Like, think of the show you love that you've listened to since the beginning.
Yes.
And I know you're a fan, but you know, as you say, like, just like I pride myself on Rogan. Like, I'm like, man, I've been listening to Rogan since he had like 100,000 on, like, like you kind of like that, or any other fan of a show that I am, So I just love our listeners, very loyal. Even when I wasn't on there, they were extremely loyal.
Yeah. Did you listen to the Rogan interview with, oh my gosh, the big country music singer with the big beard?
Yes. What's his name?
Luke Combs.
Luke Combs. I heard a little bit, and I thought it was fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
My problem is I don't have 3 hours.
Yeah.
So I have to listen to Rogan over like a course of a week. But yes, I turned it on recently. I had a hard time flipping over when he went to Spotify.
Yeah, me too.
I'm an Apple person.
Interesting. I'm a YouTube guy, and so I would listen to him through YouTube. I never downloaded the podcast, even though I have Spotify. Yeah. I haven't still made that transition over. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, I consume the clips and stuff. Even unless I really, really like the guest, then I'll go and I'll find it.
Offline, I do want to pick your brain about the YouTube Live, because John and I, ready, guys and girls?
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we will be launching a third weekly episode. And it is going to be a live episode, and we're looking for the proper channel to do this live show. And I'm thinking it's probably going to be YouTube. I think we're going to do YouTube Live, produce it here out of the studio office.
Oh.
Bring in a production crew.
Okay.
We have a meeting next week.
All right.
With the production crew. So by the time you're listening to this, I'm probably going to be at that meeting. Right? Because today's a Friday.
Right.
We're recording on a Friday. This is going to drop on a Tuesday.
Okay.
So by the time our listeners are tuned in, I'm going to be putting the wheels in motion to do a third episode, a live episode, where we can have better interaction with our fan base.
That's what they want. That's what they want. They want, those big blues looking right here and answering questions that will satisfy their little hearts. You're a live kind of guy, man. You're a live kind of guy, and you'll thrive in that environment. And so it does not surprise me.
I can't wait. So I do want to get into the real reason you're here. And it's not for you and I to shoot the shit and get called up. Although I bet some people would enjoy listening to us just do that.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
Just do that. Two things before we pivot.
Okay.
I appreciate how delicately and how softly you let me down when you also said, sit down, boy, and shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Because I made a comment that your moniker Black Bean was racist. You're like, well, technically being Hispanic is not a race. It's an ethnicity. So therefore, it's bigotry. I appreciate that, Carlos. Many other people did not pick that up, but this dude did.
Well, thank you. It's funny because it's something that I've grown up with, being light-skinned, Hispanic. And I've always been, you're not Hispanic enough. That's always been my thing. Yeah. It was especially growing up. Not anymore. Not since the awakening of equality. Yeah. Social justice now.
I don't know. Is that even from a movie or is that from literally Carlos?
That's from my ass. Just
I don't know what JC put in your coffee, but please put some in mine.
No, that's just me being silly because it just changed so much since when we were in high school. Like, if you could openly, like, you're not Hispanic, you're not black, or you're not dark enough. Like, and I'm like, hey, yo hablo español. Tú no hablas español. Be Puerto Rican kids who don't speak Spanish to me coming up to me saying I'm not Hispanic enough, and they don't even speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, what? So it was very confusing for me. So when I
being a light-skinned Hispanic guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was always like, do I hang out with the white people or do I hang out with the Hispanic people? And so I kind of went hard in the paint either way. And I realized, I don't have to do either. I could kind of be friends amongst everybody. But the racist thing is always funny because they consider Hispanic people a race, and Hispanic people are not a race.
Yeah.
It is an ethnicity. So when somebody hates on a Hispanic person, they are a bigot. They're actually hating on an entire ethnicity of people as opposed to a race of people. So it's something that,
Well, and truth be told, it's interesting. So I work in the mortgage industry for those that are tuning in. And look, don't let the name of our show fool you. So if you're a fan of Carlos Navarro and you tuned in, I say thank you. I'm going to encourage you all, check out our content. Like, we have 300 plus episodes on YouTube. If you don't like watching and you want to listen, we're on Spotify, we're on iHeart, we're on Stitcher, we're on Apple. But this is everything you should have learned in high school but didn't.
Nice.
Right? That's our show. So I tell people, don't let the name fool you. I love talking about things that are personal finance, budget, career, motivating, inspiration, and I love doing it in a edutainment type platform, right? Let's entertain you while also educating you. Let's talk about everything that they didn't teach you at high school, or maybe even conversations you didn't have at the dinner table growing up. Because A, maybe your family didn't eat dinner together, or B, your parents, they didn't know any different. So why would they have a conversation with you about the Law 72 or about ROI, right?
I have a term for that doesn't kind of make sense, but I always say it. I call it an American equity built in within yourself, okay? I didn't grow up with that. My dad, first generation American from Peru to New York to here. Zero understanding of how American really society works and straight to work. And nothing against him.
Yep.
My mom, similar, from Cuba to Miami. So my starting point was not understanding at all how things worked. And then growing up during 2007, or excuse me, when the last recession that we had, 2007, the real bad one, getting into homes at that time, not understanding. So what I mean by an American equity is, even if, let's say, you didn't come from the best family here in this country, you still had an understanding of the beginnings of the rules, as opposed to somebody coming from here and being like, it's the American dream, just do what you want. That's why I became an actor. Nobody held me back.
I love it.
Nobody held me back, and I thank them for that, because they were like, if you want to be a janitor, Carlos, you be the best janitor. Like that, I love, and that's why I had the ability to do what I do today. Nobody shut me down.
I absolutely love that. You call it the American equity.
Yeah, it's just because I think of equity in a home.
Yeah.
That you're like, oh, at least we got this equity here, maybe 10 G's and maybe 5 G's, but it's this equity that we've earned, whether we bought the house ourselves or maybe we were given the house, right? And I always feel like we just never had that. We just never had that.
So for me, I like to call it being in the room where it happens, right? And I totally steal that from Hamilton.
Hell yeah.
It is my favorite play. My
Me
wife
too.
and I are huge theater buffs. Have season tickets to the Travel Broadway here at the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center.
Beautiful.
We were just in Manhattan. We saw And Juliet. Freaking amazing. Top 5 play. You have to go see it.
And Juliet.
Yep, Romeo and Juliet.
Sure.
Drop the Romeo. Keep the ampersand.
Wow.
And Juliet. The whole entire story is, what if Juliet didn't die?
Damn.
And they've worked Shakespeare and his wife, who, by the way, her name is Anne Hathaway, not the actress.
Just
but
coincidence?
Coincidental. Yeah. And the entire musical score are songs that you know, because it's some famous songwriter who has he writes 5 top 100 hits a year, every year since NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. So you're watching
Max Martin?
Yes, Max Martin. Yes. So it literally is Pink, Kelly Clarkson,
Wow.
Backstreet Boys. This is what you're jamming to during this play.
Wow.
So
I'm going to love that.
100% you will. But like being in the room where it happens, I want this show to be inviting people into the room where it happens. Or sometimes, growing up, you and I grew up in decent neighborhoods, working class neighborhoods.
Sure.
But we didn't necessarily have invites to certain tables at the country club where certain business transactions may or may not transpire.
Yeah.
I want to invite people to the table.
Gotcha.
This show is about that. Whether it's a thought, whether it's a concept,
Yeah.
whether it's just pointing them towards a book or a resource. It's like, hey, let us entertain you, but let's also invite you into the room where it happens, or invite you to come be a part of our dinner table, where maybe you can be exposed to thoughts and concepts that were otherwise going to be foreign to you, based on your upbringing. while also having that American equity.
Yeah,
Which is pretty cool. So my last question, then we're going to jump right into it. What you're basically doing this weekend. And what you're going to be doing next weekend and next month and next year. And I think it's going to be your, I hate saying your second career.
No, I know.
But the next phase.
Yeah, it feels like it.
The next phase of Carlos Navarro.
Yeah.
I'm sure radio will always be a part of you.
Yes.
Acting is who you are. You are an actor.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is an actor. He's a paid actor.
Thank you, sir.
He makes a living acting. He provides for his family acting, right? That is what he does. And then he's going to do what he's going to talk to you about. But before we jump into that, what I was curious about from an acting standpoint, and I didn't cover this, for inquiring minds at home, what role did you play in Walking Dead, and what role did you play in Hawkeye?
Oh, sure, yeah. In Walking Dead, I was fortunate to play Alvaro, the loyal knight of the kingdom. For those who watch Walking Dead, the kingdom was a big part of it. Season 8, and they kind of came into the Walking Dead world. For those who don't know, it's a pretty dystopian world. We were very kingly and medieval, and I was one of the loyal knights. Who dares trespass on the sovereign nation of the kingdom? Oh, shit, Jesus, is that you? Yeah, that's me. And I was very fortunate to really be in some amazing, legendary episodes of The Walking Dead. The 100th episode with Andrew Lincoln and Negan fighting, and it's just, I got super lucky with the people I got to work with. 9 episodes, 2 seasons.
That's crazy. You had to learn to ride a horse.
Had to learn how to ride a horse, had to learn so much. It was, you see us out there sweating and dripping, and we were out there doing that. It definitely was some of the best and most amazing and most fulfilling experience of my life. It was literally my favorite show. So imagine whatever show you're watching now, right?
Oh, you were a super fan of the show?
Dustin, the second I saw the show, and imagine like in your world, like and now you're in this world, but like in your business world, when you're like you see a building or you see like a company you want to acquire or something, you just can't stop thinking about it, right? So that's The Walking Dead, right? I see the show and it blows my mind. I'm like, and we got to remember what Walking Dead did. Even if you didn't watch it, it was groundbreaking. It was really unique and really gritty, and I knew they were shooting it in Georgia. And so my daughter is 5 months old, and I get an audition for The Walking Dead. And I'm just barely scraping by to get this house in Winter Park. And we're like, oh, babe, and I look at her and I go, this is it. This is it. This is the role. And it's the role. And it's like, here we go. And I'm like rehearsing it over and over. And and I do it, and I don't hear shit. 5 years later.
5 years later?
5 years later.
Oh, my God.
My daughter is 5 years old.
She's in kindergarten.
She's in kindergarten, okay? I have auditioned for The Walking Dead countless times. 15. At one point during this time, I'm literally going like, they can go fuck themselves. I'm obviously the guy they're going like, hey, listen, everybody. See that guy? Don't do what he does, okay? We're going to ask him to do this role. And what he does, you do the opposite.
And we'll book you.
And we will book you, right? So, but luckily I learned something in the midst of this 5 years, was that I made a decision to never quit auditioning. I made a decision. I have a saying. I say men, make decisions, and boys make choices. Okay, because if I was a boy about it, I'd be butthurt, I'd be emotional, I'd be like, this is the 7th time they asked me, and then I'd see the character that they picked. Now, thankfully, my saving grace was, it'd be like an Asian dude, or then it'd be like a white guy, like, they didn't look at me, I'd be like, all right, he don't look like me. And then one time, like a really good role, the dude didn't look like me, I was like, oh shit, he just did better than me, and he did. I remember watching it going, damn, he did a better job than me. So imagine the mind fuck and being an athlete, there's a competitiveness like, no, I want to win this. It's my favorite show. I would write it in my notebook. I am on The Walking Dead. I'm meeting Andrew Lincoln. There was nobody telling me this was going to happen. This was lunacy. If you can read these notebooks I have from 2000 whatever, and it looks like a madman is making affirmations. And then I'm napping after essentially giving up on The Walking Dead. Mentally, I had been like, look, I'm going to audition, but obviously I don't fucking like me, whatever. I wake up out of a nap from a text from my agent. Check your email. Fuck. Check the email. Scott Gimble, the executive producer of The Walking Dead, would like to audition you for a role. This is not how you get a role. This
Okay,
is not how
so-
a casting comes down.
Okay.
This is totally out of the blue. Imagine you wake up and you're like, somebody has $1 million check and they're waiting for you. And what the
So is that like the job interview, like where it's your dad's childhood best friend who owns the company, and you just have to not screw it up? Like, just don't screw this up.
No, I didn't. I called my agent. I go, she'd already booked other people on The Walking Dead. I go, what is this? She goes, I don't know. Because normally you get a casting and then you got to do the audition. They don't even know your audition. And so I go, okay. So long story short, shorter, I booked this role, okay? And they said, hey, I didn't even know if I booked it. Hey, get in the car, be in Georgia tomorrow.
7-hour drive, by the way.
7-hour drive. You're starting to shoot tomorrow. I can't tell you anything. We're sending over the script. Your character's name rhymes with your name. And boom, my agent says that. And I go, what? I remember the moment.
Literally, you're like Carlos, Barlos,
Tarlos?
Marlo? Am I Marlo? Maybe I'm Marlo.
So
Or
remember,
Alvaro and Navarro.
then there it was, right?
Yeah.
And so I go, remember I said that, right? And I go and I open up the script and I'm like, and in my head I'm thinking that I'm taking a shot to the head, like the very first opening page, that I'm tripping over a log and a zombie's like, you know? And so I'm jumping up and down with my wife. And it's so beautiful to share this with somebody who was there at my first audition. My first real audition, she was right there, you know? And we're jumping up and down after 5 years of no's. And I open up the script and I see this name, Alvaro, that's me. And I can see, I got lines. I'm like, fuck this. Scroll. Am I dying? I live. And I go straight to Georgia. I shoot 5 episodes of this groundbreaking kind of time. And then fast forward to the rap party. I'd not met Scott Gimble yet. I'd not met the guy who originally emailed me about that, the executive. I had not met him the entire time.
I was wondering where that was going because so he emailed you.
His assistant emailed me, said on behalf of Scott Gimble.
Okay.
So that's not
That's
normal.
it. Okay. That's
Yeah. Okay.
But it was nothing special. It wasn't like it was just like, oh, for whatever reason, at this point, you received that role. You had to drive to Atlanta. You shot not 1 but 5 episodes, all in the same day or two.
No. This was over months.
Were you living in Atlanta or were you commuting?
Back and forth, commuting.
Back
and
and
I would
forth.
live there for a
Okay.
little bit. I'd do the radio show. It was quite. We really had to have our shit together.
Okay.
Okay.
But you were acting between interviewing,
audition,
auditioning, when your daughter was 5 months old versus landing the gig when she was 5 years old. You were booking other gigs in
Absolutely.
that time frame. It just wasn't on your favorite TV show.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So we're at the rap party.
So we're at the rap party, and I tell Kari, plays King Ezekiel, I go, dude, can you introduce me to Scott Gimble? I would love to shake his hand and be like, dude, thank you. So he's like, yeah, we're going through all these things. I don't even know what the guy looks like. And I turn the corner and Kari goes, Scott. And he turns and he sees me and he goes, who dares trespass on the sovereign nation of the kingdom? He starts reading my lines.
Wow.
And I go, Scott, you knew I auditioned like 1 million times for your show. I just like blurted like, he goes, we know we were waiting for the right part. That's why I named the character after you.
No way.
Alvaro.
That's freaking awesome.
And so he was such a good dude.
Wow.
The whole time the role was right there. And the whole time I was like, I'm so far away. So that to me, that's what I'm teaching this week. And that story I tell within this workshop.
God.
Yeah.
Persistence
Yeah,
and
man.
consistence.
Yeah, man.
Literally
Yeah.
quit. Don't give up.
Yeah.
What's your thing, boy versus man?
Yeah, you know what?
Say that again.
Boys make choices, men make decisions.
You made a decision not to give up.
Yeah.
You made a decision to keep on showing up, keep on putting your best foot forward, and eventually things would fall in line.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
Los.
dude.
That is so freaking cool.
Thanks, man.
Okay, well, I don't expect to, we don't have enough time, but I mean, Marvel is such a massive name.
Yeah.
Right? Marvel.
Yeah.
And you have a 6-episode
Yeah, it's a 6-episode limited series, Hawkeye. Yeah.
Hawkeye.
Yeah, man. The
Yeah,
Avenger.
and that's with Jason.
Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, Jeremy and Haley Steinfeld. Yeah, she plays Hawkeye. Yeah, she's both of them. it was a dream come true, right? You know, like
Yeah.
to be part of this MCU. I'm part of the MC. Fucking you. Like it's
You
still,
and Captain America.
yeah, so, you know, we hang
yeah.
out, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, to book this role, which they literally selected me from DeLand, Florida, originally Orlando, Lyman High till I die. An amazing Polish actor, Piotr, and another actor, Alex Ponovic from Canada. They did a worldwide search for the three bros. Hey, bro, yo, what's up? Yo, what's up, bro? It's me, okay? Enrique, the bro. That's who I play on Hawkeye. And we were this just amazing crew. I've always benefited from being on an ensemble cast. I work well with people. I'm quick to give an idea. I'm quick to take an idea. I'm quick to realize I'm sorry. I'm quick to it took time, but I'm always, whether it was on Bloodline, guess what? I was part of the Cuban Crew.
Yeah.
Whether it's the Monsters. And
You
I'm-
opened fire on somebody on Bloodline, didn't you?
on everybody, Papi,
Yeah.
in the strip club,
Yeah.
at the Marlin. You talking to me?
How cool. How cool. That's awesome. Right now, JC is literally shaking his pants. He's like, God, I hope Carlos does not get fired again from Real Radio
Oh, no.
because Dio's going to slide him in here and he's going to take the seat. Yeah, he's going to take my seat. No, actually, JC's like, please. He's
Man.
thinking about calling Panama Jew, thinking Panama Jew still works
He
there.
does not work here anymore. Yeah.
and
Yep.
say, hey, why don't you let this dude go so I can like just produce TLOP and let Lo slide in. Problem is, you and I are so much alike.
Yeah, we got a lot of energy.
We would get nowhere. It'd
Yeah.
be fun getting
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
It'd be fun getting there. So I'm going to ask you something right now.
Sure.
It's a request.
Mm-hmm.
One, when you go to write your screenplay, can I be a contributing, silent writer? I want to be a part of that process. I want to be a
Okay.
part of writing a screenplay. Only if it's like a romantic comedy and I have some ideas. Okay.
And I have some people I want in it. No, you know, I have some screenplay ideas, and now with the advent of ChatGPT, I think we're gonna get some of the most. I'm obsessed with ChatGPT, and that's something I'm also kind of teaching this weekend on how to maximize your creativity with it. And I think you'll have a Carlos Mugshot to Marvel book very soon.
Okay.
That's already being in the midst of this workshop, and as you know, habit stacking and doing things and be like, oh, how do we extrapolate that? ChatGPT is the superpower to do that, and so this weekend doing To the Top workshop with the personal development. I've been able to do more in this month preparing for this workshop, adding value than I have in 5 years.
Because of ChatGPT.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So I love, if you notice, again, you're slick, man. You are so professional and so slick. He basically told me, no, thank you. I have no desire to write with you or to bring you in as any type of, even if you're non-named and non-credited.
You look like a producer. No.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Now, my last request.
No, you know what? I got
just
you.
Write me a
I got
part.
you.
Just
You know-
write me a part.
But no, actually, what I was going to say is I would never write a romantic comedy. That's like nothing even in remote. Even though I'm a comedian at heart, like I have some fantasy that mixes with some comedy in there and some other stuff that I would gladly love to work with you, my friend. Are you kidding me? You've always been a funny storytelling dude, and I think like you're living like a reverse me in a way, like where you did all this business stuff up in the front, you know, and now you're doing more entertainment, and I'm kind of doing the opposite.
Yeah,
you know?
you say, yeah, I'm the mullet.
Yeah.
You're the reverse mullet.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, I'm business up front, party in the back. You're like, nah.
Yeah.
I partied up front.
Oh, yeah,
Now we got to
yeah.
go business in the back.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that, because
Yeah.
that is what is really exciting me about this, like Carlos Navarro 3.0, right? Like let's talk about Mugshot to Marvel.
Yes.
Let's talk about what you're doing this weekend, because today's Friday, but when y'all listen, it would have been had done.
Yeah.
Like what you just did, and what you're most passionate about. So what's going on this weekend that you're doing? Where was it? Don't give me the actual
Yeah,
address,
yeah.
but like where was it? How many people do you expect to show up? Like,
Well, luckily, I have been doing personal development, speaking, and coaching on the side, not doing for years.
Okay.
Never fully being like, oh, I'm going to put this together. It was just something I enjoyed, and I was busy, doing other stuff. And then I really made the conscious effort, like, no, I found a management team found me. I was like, hey, what are you doing? You need to get your shit together. Like, you could really be helping people. So I started coaching one-on-one a lot, and I didn't think I was going to do that. And I learned how much I loved it.
was this after you had decided to go dry, sober up, quit drinking, or is this still while you were?
Oh yeah. It was after
Okay.
that. Yeah, because
Okay.
good question. Because that should be clear. When I quit drinking, I kind of was very open about it.
Yeah.
And when I got back on the radio, I made a conscious choice to really be vulnerable and really share that, and really obviously, and that connected with. So I've built this huge kind of credibility in a sense that I never asked people for anything. I never said, "Hey, I need you," other than go see a movie or go and listen to the show, but never like go buy a course or go hear me speak. And now I'm at this point where I've acquired all this knowledge that helped me get from really low place to a place of success in a very difficult field. And not only entertainment, but raising a family, as you know, being a man, quitting alcohol, all these kind of things that a lot of people touch on. And then I kind of put it all together in a mindset experience. Imagine a Tony Robbins presentation, multimedia, there's music, I'm going to make you laugh. The basis of what I do is starts with a notebook. Remember me telling you about writing down Andrew Lincoln? I tell that story because the research is there. And as you know, I'm sure you write everything down. That's the signal. That's our marketing campaign for our actions. And so many people forget it takes $150 million to promote Wakanda Forever because we forget about it. And guess what it does in your brain when you're not thinking about your goals, when you're not thinking about your own gigantic movie in your head? You fucking forget about it. That's why I write shit down every day. And I have a system, a strategy that can work for anybody. And it's proven to work not only for me, but like, as you know, the most successful people. So that's the workshop over the weekend at this great company called Comulus.
Okay.
And
is that a Florida-based company?
Yeah, out of Melbourne, in
Okay.
Melbourne. And so
Very
I'll be in
cool.
Melbourne, and it's about 30 people, and it's really refining. And then we got some others set up here soon, but I really see this being in a giant stage, my energy and being interactive and being something totally different. We're putting in really cool media and pop culture stuff to keep people excited and focused on the task, which is your thoughts motivate your actions, and your actions determine your destiny.
Here's what I love about it. It is everything you should have learned in high school.
Yes.
But you didn't.
Nothing,
like,
yeah.
like JC has big ass posters made. We call it step and repeats.
Yeah.
Because we started going out in order to get one with our fans, right? And to interact and make ourselves approachable, and also to continue to give back to the community. We started doing these live events.
Yeah.
And he has this big step and repeat that literally says they don't teach this shit in high school.
Ah, that's good.
And what I love about what you're talking about is just that. And then what I love most is you're speaking from experience.
Yeah.
You're not like, oh, I read a book, so let me just go and regurgitate what the book said. I'm not saying that doesn't work. That's better than probably nothing.
Right, for sure.
But what I love is you're like, no. No, let me talk about all the times in life that I fucked up, that I failed, that I made piss poor decisions. Like there was 4 decisions on the table. 2 of them were good. 1 was average. And I chose the piss poor one. Right? And not just once, but multiple times.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But I never gave up. I never stopped believing. I never stopped working on myself. I figured out what my demon was. For you, alcohol.
It was.
And you talk about it. And I love you for talking about it.
Thanks, man.
Right? Because I am somebody who I have to have conversations with myself and with others about how I view alcohol. Right? And there's been many times in my life where I'm like, hey, maybe I'm at a point where it's a non-negotiable. Right? It's a non-negotiable because if I put that into my mouth and I want to start abusing it, and then I've learned nothing good happens.
Alcohol especially, man.
Yeah, no, there's not one time that someone's like, oh my God, so because I got hammered, something great happened.
They've done so many studies on alcohol, and there is 0 therapeutic use for it.
Yeah.
Think about that. It's the most accessible. Over the years, man, I feel like I've become a hardened person in the sense of like really actively against alcohol. And this is the first time I'm really admitting this, to be honest, like in a hardcore sense. I've always been a little apprehensive how I have a monster whiskey, right?
Yes.
So like, I'm not obviously don't drink.
Yeah.
But man, time and time again, people can't control it. And let's say you're not me, which was I would fucking try and kill you at times on it because I'm that extreme.
You would rage. You would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a monster inside of me, dude. I know there's a monster inside of you.
Yeah.
And there's a monster in everybody. And if you don't have one, life's going to be fucking tough because you got to bring that monster out when you're fucking trying to pay your bills. You got to bring the monster out when somebody's trying to fuck with you. And so when I drank, already living in a world where I didn't feel I had anything holding me back, And then you're like, well, what? Man, get the fuck out of here, you know?
Yeah.
And so I had to figure that out, man. I had to figure that out. And I really feel like most people, maybe 20% of people can really handle their alcohol. And even if it's not the fighting, it's the 3-beer killer. Do you know what the 3-beer killer is?
No, what is that?
It's the frog in the boiling water, Dustin.
Oh, yes. Yes. I know about the frog in the boiling water.
You ready?
Yeah.
You know, people come home and I coach people with this. You know, they're not horrible alcoholics, but they're the 3-drinker, right? They get home at 6. They got all these plans. They're going to hang out with their wife. They're going to actually play the guitar because they like it. They have the beer, and all of a sudden the alcohol hits the system. What is it going to do? Boom, it's a sedative. And then that one beer turns into 2 because, well, I do want to watch the Netflix show. I got, what is it? The episode of Love is Blind? Oh, my God, Boomers with Julia this week. Honey, bring me another drink. And that's 3, right? And by 3, if you're not getting up and doing something and you're over the age of 30, what happens then? And then anything you were planning on doing is done for the day. You know how many people I coach that I've coached out of that, and I go, do you realize this, if you take out this little linchpin, you and your wife's relationship gets better. Because she doesn't drink, does she? No, she doesn't. It's these little decisions we make that if you don't sit with somebody or you don't write down, they'll indiscriminately fly by.
Facts. Like hashtag truth. Hashtag facts, right? I mean, there's nothing for me to add to that. So when you do these events, like Mugshot to Marvel is the name of your presentation.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You're talking about the times that you were arrested, and then you talk about where you are today, landing paid acting gigs where you're part of the Marvel
Cinematic universe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like no one can ever take that away from you.
No one.
Just like no one can also take away that mugshot.
I know.
That you
Damn
can
right.
Google right now. Carlos Navarro, Orlando arrest.
And it's me sitting there looking gangster as hell. And that is part of my presentation. Actually, dude, I got to tell you this. You'll love this. It's Lyman Connected. I do a presentation at Lyman, my high school. So this is all of these old connections. And connections are everything, guys. You're listening to this because you want knowledge. And Dustin, Jay, they're going to break that off for you. Connections, or I shouldn't say connections, relationships are everything. My high school teacher, TV production teacher, before I was ever quote unquote famous or spoke on a stage or got anything, I would go back to the school and talk to the kids. And every year I'd go back. Every year I got a little bit more famous. Every year, and to the point when I come back now, they got the posters, they're all, hey! Yes. And then I said, hey, let me give a speech. Well, I go to give a speech to shoot it, and use it for marketing material and stuff. I'd never done a speech like this before. I said, I'm going to do Mugshot to Marvel. I'm just, fuck it. I'm going to start, And so I'm going to tell the presentation. Well, before she goes out there, she goes, I'll tell you afterwards. And I go and I'm like, and I see the students. And I go, well, part of it is I'm going to have them write their notebook. And she's like, yeah, good luck with that. Yeah. She was like, good luck having high schoolers pull out their notebook. I go, they're going to do it. And I'm going to be, the reason is, just like you would sell anything, or why would somebody trust you with your mortgage or whatever you're listening to, you're a mechanic, why would somebody trust you with their car? They believe you, right? And for a reason. And so I start off, I was like, well, I'm going to do this Mugshot to Marvel because I feel that will build me the credibility to understand how bad I fucked up and where I got to, right? So I see the students, I go from Mugshot to Marvel, and they stand up and start clapping. These are students at Lyman. Fast
15, 16,
15,
16. Yep.
Fast forward to G afterward, our teacher, she goes, hey, I didn't tell you. These are the worst kids in the school. These are the troubled kids. They were standing up, writing things down because they saw a guy who wasn't like, I built a $17 million business in my garage. I drive a Ferrari. I drive a Hyundai Santa Fe, Poppy, because I paid it off a long ass time ago. My wife drives the Lexus. Okay. Yeah. Like I had the BMW. I had the Jag. I had all that shit. I've just learned, step by step on how to kind of get there. So
for people looking to connect with you,
right?
And not fans. Like fans, go to IMBD.
Yeah, you go to IMDb.
But like, I'm talking like real people.
Yes.
You're like, hey, I want to learn from him.
Yes.
I want to hear more about his story. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of similarities in his success, his trials, his tribulations. How are people able to either book a consultation to talk about one-on-one coaching or group coaching, or if they want to book you to speak for their company? Like these people who tune in are like, they work for some of the largest national sales organizations, right? You're talking about real estate, talking about mortgage, life insurance, entrepreneurs, business owners. people would want to book Carlos Navarro.
Yeah, man.
How do they do that?
Thank you for setting me up like that, man. Number one, to the top, neverstop.com. How nice is that, right?
Wow.
You go
to the top.
Neverstop.com. That's my phrase. To the top, never stop. I do everything's connected to the top because that was my phrase at my lowest point. I created this phrase with my wife when we were broke as shit. We didn't have 0 wins. It was our first win. Hey, we got a catchphrase. And so to the top, never stop has become really who I am. And so within there, you'll see the coaching. You'll see the services. And I have a team now, Lori and Jen, who really care so much about the mission, which is the passion project, which is Mugshot to Marvel, really helping people get together their lives through their passion and spark that energy back up. So basically, you'll be able to boop, boop, you click a little thing because you're right. You got to make that decision, and that's actually what I ask people before, because I get a lot of emails. Hey, hey, I just want to talk. I said, no, man, you got to make the decision that you want to change, and that really kind of gets them thinking. And then okay, then we can move forward. But it's pretty straightforward. But thank you for asking.
Yeah, no, and then for our fans, for the TLOPers out there, right? If you listen to this show and you are a fan of the show, you're a TLOPer.
Yo.
Please know that behind the scenes, I'm looking for ways that I can bring Carlos out on the road with us.
Yeah.
It may be a national sales conference that we host here in Orlando, Florida, with 500 mortgage and real estate professionals coming in. It may be in Oklahoma City in October, and it's an event in front of 60 or 70 people.
Oh, yeah.
But, Carlos, I want to introduce you 3.0.
Yeah.
With your story, with your coaching, with all of your experience, your passion that you share to our audience. And hopefully our audience will then take it and share it to their employers and their friends and the business community. You cool with that?
Absolutely. It's a whole world that I'm really opening up my arms to, and so absolutely, man, that would be great. I'd love to travel with you, go all over. I've never been to Oklahoma.
Nor have I. That's why we're trying to get there.
Oh,
yeah,
damn.
we're trying to get there, and it helps. Like, I'm all about like network stacking.
Damn right.
So I'm like, okay, here's the thing. My buddy Carrick Draper runs a mortgage branch, very successful, with like a mega producer and a bunch of other badass originators in the Tulsa and Oklahoma City markets. My beloved UCF Knights are playing on the road at Oklahoma this year for the fall 2023 football season. Why don't we just get into town a couple days early? We can do a TLOP event, right? And then we can hang out with Carrick. Then we can go to the football game. Then we can fly home. Right?
I love it.
That's kind of something
I'm down.
that I'm thinking about.
I'm ready.
Awesome.
I'd love to go to a game with you, man. That'd be fun.
Hey, if you ever want to, you want to go to a home UCF game?
I haven't been in a long time, man. I really don't. I go to more basketball. I go to a lot of UFC. I actually I love UFC. So last event, like sports event, I think I went to that championship fight in Jacksonville out there. That was really crazy.
Very cool. Well, you and I can talk about all that offline.
Yeah, sure.
I know you have a wife and 2 beautiful daughters to get home to. I'm going to try to get to the gym before I get home to my wife and kids.
Yeah, dog, lift. It's a leg day. Oh, yeah, brother.
And JC just wants to go home because he's tired of fucking needs to smoke a bowl.
Hell yeah.
So, nonetheless, best part about traveling with you, Carlos, too, we all got a DD.
Hell yeah,
Built-in DD. You're better than a pregnant chick.
Exactly right.
Because you're fun and won't want to go to bed at 11 o'clock because your feet are all swollen.
I love seeing drunk people.
Awesome. Hey, he's Carlos Navarro. I'm Dustin Owen. You have tuned in to the Lone Officer Podcast. That is all the time we have for you today, but we will catch you on the next episode. Peace.